There are very few shows, animes, movie that the genre you're watching, it's not really much that can surprise me. Watching this movie, Sorry to Bother You, from 2018, is one of those movies that surprised me. Now, I remember watching the trailers years ago, and I didn't go see the movie. I was like, okay, neat, that's whatever. Then Ty Phoenix, asked me, my Patreon member, asked me to review Sorry to Bother You. I think he asked before he was a Patreon member, and now he's a Patreon member. He's like, you gotta watch this movie. Like, we're talking about it. I was like, all right, I'll watch it. And other people asked me to watch it before too. So I was like, let me go put this movie on. Found the movie, watched it, and at one point it was like a movie about social commentary and like what's going on in the world, and it's like almost like it hits too close to home, and then it flips in a way that you're like, what am I watching? Hold on, pause, wait a minute, give me a second. What? Pause. And this movie is so unique, so interesting, also done so well, and I'm even conflicted on my final grade I'm gonna give this movie. And that's rare. That is really rare. And also another point before I jump into the actual review, I had to actually look what the genre runs of this movie. It's considered a comedy, fantasy, sci-fi movie, which you don't get that vibe from the trailers at all. The trailers actually make it look like it's a comedy. So, with further ado, I'm going to review the movie Sorry to Bother You from 2018 on this episode of Movie Breakdowns. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka, and what's Movie Breakdowns? It's a movie review series where we look at new and old movies, give them a grade, A through F. Plus and minuses do count, and if there's a movie you want me to review, let me know. Please put in the conversation below, and I get to it as best I can. I also have a Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka, and on the Patreon for only $2 a month, you get to jump in front of everybody else, you get to request whatever you want to request, you get to see trailer reactions, trailer reviews, and much, much more content. Now, also, I want to give a shout out to Ty Phoenix, a Patreon member. And let's go ahead and get into today's review of Sorry to Bother You from the year 2018. This is a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen this movie, I really wish you stop this review, go watch it, and come back to review and pick up from here, because I'm going to drop some spoilers from a movie that came out in 2018. And let's jump into it. So what's the movie about? Plain and simple, it's about a guy who's kind of like down on his luck, who really needs a good source of income. He works at a job as a telemarketing job. He's really, really good at it, works his way up the ranks, and as he gets to the top, he kind of has to leave his friends behind, and he finds out the top is not all it's cracked up to be. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much Sorry to Bother You. Plain and simple. Now, this movie is an hour and 51 minutes, almost 2 hours, and I don't think it needs to be an hour and 50. I think it could have been an hour and 40, to be honest. That is my personal opinion, because this movie does get weird. It gets really weird, and when you get to those weird parts of the movie, you're thinking, okay, this movie should be near to be over. Like, he's coming to the apex of everything, where he realized, being the top is not always cracked up to be, and most movies wrap that up pretty quickly. Well, in the last 40 to 30 minutes of the movie, that moment happens, and there's with the last 40 minutes and 30 minutes of the movie remaining, that moment happens for like an hour and 15, an hour and 20, which means the remaining of the movie is him coming back down and going through all the processes just to be like, my stuff is not working, and yeah, okay, so what I gotta do next? And it was like, wait, this movie's continuing? We just realized he got to the top. He's been at the top for like the past 20 minutes before the last hour, and for the last 40 minutes of the movie. He's been at the top for like 20 minutes of the movie for him to be like, I'm out. And this movie is really interesting because it talks about social commentary. It talks about things like race. It talks about things like the working middle class, work-life balance. It talks about those things where you see somebody who is struggling and they use their talents to really become really good at something, to work their way up, even though the stuff he's doing is kind of messed up. He is at the very top selling slave labor. Like, that's what he does. And you're like, this can't be a character can get behind, but because the money, the dollar value behind it, he's selling like workers to other countries and doing all these things. I'm like, that's not good. And his girlfriend, who is like a social justice warrior, with lack of a better term, like she is in every little thing. She wants to bring down the man. She's saying like, this is slave workers, this is slave laborers. She brings all this attention to different groups and people who are suffering, and she rides and dies with him for like majority of the movie till she gets to the point where she's like, it's not have all the fancy stuff in the world, but you gotta give up your soul just to do this. I'm out. And I'm like, why aren't you out at point A? Why did you get to point, X and be like, deuces? And this movie talks about relationships too, which I think is I like the take on relationships in this movie. I think it's a good take. I also like the take on like the middle class overcoming and people starting a union for call centers. I like that take for telemarketing call centers, people working on commissions who getting less than nothing. Like, I like that take. That way they're making a solid living wage and also at the same time can do the job they need to do. And those are the takes I like. And I like the fact that the main character is like, I'm good at this. I'm actually making money off this. Everybody else is not. I'm gonna go ahead and do what I need to do versus like staying down and suffering with everybody else. Like, I also like that take. Those three takes I really enjoy. But then the weirdness comes into the movie and you're just like, pause. What the heck? Like, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it. There's horse people in this movie. Horse people. And it was almost like the dude who owns it all, owns the company, he was trying to get Cassius, who's the main character, get him to become the Martin Luther King of horse people. And I was like, when I heard it, I was like, is the black struggle a joke to you? Like, that's how I felt when he said this to Cassius, and Cassius had the same feeling. And I do like how the movie made me feel uneasy for Cash in that point. I was like, you have Cash at gunpoint, you're telling him you want him to become the Martin Luther King of horse people, and you have people you turned into horses trapped in your basement. What the fudge? What the fudge? Like, bro, F word. I lost it. I was like, oh, this movie just turned super quick. Like, I was down with everything else. Like, I was down with the part where Cassius was like on the phone, he drops into somebody's living room and he's like talking to him one-on-one. Like, somebody who does call center work, like, I get that. I get when you pick up the phone and you're talking to somebody, you're literally having a conversation with them, like wherever they at, you're going to them. Now, Cassius was calling out versus them calling in, but still, it was, like, I can relate to Cassius on so many levels on this movie, but the whole horse people thing really flipped it for me, and I was like, this movie's on a whole nother level that I'm not ready for. I've seen some stuff. I watched SpongeBob. SpongeBob will put you on some dumb stuff too. But I had never seen a movie where it switched genres so quick that you think you're watching, a comedy, social commentary comedy movie to a completely out of this universe, out of this world sci-fi movie. But the movie does a great job of telling the story, so therefore you're not lost, when it comes to it, like, there's just no explanation for why there's horse people, and they just leave it at that. It's actually funny. The guy who owns the CEO guy, he tells Cassius, like, you have to watch the movie first. If you don't watch the movie, you're not going to understand what's going on. And I do appreciate that somebody's giving exposition in a different way versus just telling you. He was like, this is what we're doing. Watch the video, and then you'll understand. So therefore, you won't be freaked out by the horse people in the stall. Like, what? What? This movie is interesting. It's interesting. And with that being said, how interesting this movie is, pacing was the one thing that really threw me off. Like, the beginning, it picks up, because, you know, you gotta watch the hero's journey, you gotta watch him struggle. I was cool with that, but there's parts of it where, like, them going out to dinner and going to like the restaurants and hanging out, where it's just like, okay, yeah, it's a little dragging here. And then, like, you know, one of my favorite scenes actually in the movie is the Cassius and his friend Salvador, or Sal, going back and forth to each other in an argument of compliments. It was like, you smell good today. Yeah, you smell good today. What do you have on? I got what you call the usual stuff. What about you? Nothing. I just smell this way. Like, I love the passive aggressive compliments they're throwing at each other, or them like arguing, but it's not them arguing, it's them like giving each other like, you want to get a drink? Let's get a drink. 1 drink, 2 drinks, 3 drinks, 4 drinks, all the drinks. I got you. No, I got you. And Danny Glover, who's in this movie for some reason, he's like, oh, we gotta stop this. But like, little things like that I enjoy. And parts like that, the movie, what makes it exciting to watch and listen to, when like you get those high points of like the protest of them, like protesting against the company, and them going on strike, and them doing the picket line, and you get the like of one side meeting the guy who's gonna be riding with them to like, nah, I got promoted, I'm doing good. Sorry about you guys, y'all can stay down here, but I gotta move up. Like, you get that conflict there. Like, those little pieces are pretty entertaining. But in between that, you have parts where just like, okay, well, we got this part, we just gotta make a low point. And some of the lows do hit low, like they hit. But then the highs, like, they really hit too. And another part of the movie that, like, just that last, when I had to check my watch, anytime I have to check my watch in the movie to see, like, okay, how much longer we got, it's usually a good point of, like, I feel like the movie's dragging. After the horse people get revealed, and what's his name trying to see, like, am I becoming a horse? Am I becoming a horse? Cass is like, I'm becoming a horse? I'm becoming a horse. Ah, horse. And, like, he's checking his nostrils, and it's movie rated R, so he has his ex-girlfriend checks his penis to see if he is getting horse genitalia. I never thought I'd say that in my life. I am an adult. Anyway, so yeah, like those scenes, it kind of drags out, and him crying like, oh, I don't want to become a horse. That's fair. I will do the same thing. But it just drags out there, and then it picks back up with him like going on TV and trying to write out the CEO of the company, and that doesn't work out. So he joins the picket line, and they almost overcome it at the end, but then like the police bring the backup, so therefore the SWAT team runs out everybody, but then the horse people come out of nowhere and save the day, and I'm like, what the f am I watching? How did I get here? Where am I? But the story of it works. It works. And if you knew watching this movie going into it as a comedy sci-fi, you wouldn't be so abruptly awakened or abruptly like, what the heck I'm watching? With those scenes, when the horse people come in, you wouldn't be like just taken back like, what the, how did I get here? You'd be like, okay, that makes sense in this world. Because in the movie, storyline plays it out. I'm not mad at the story. I actually think the story is really great in this movie. It's just, some of the pacing of it is kind of like, Alright, let's go ahead and look at some details here, characters and whatnots of this movie. And first off, because this movie came out in 2018, came out in theaters, I'm curious, what did it get as far as like money and box office? So let's see here. So the budget for this movie was $3,200,000. It grossed worldwide $18 million. So it made its money, and for a $3 million movie, I thought it was directed pretty well. Directed, lighting, color, I think everything about this movie as far as like set pieces, acting, I think they did a great job for $3 million roughly. Like that's not bad at all. Director Boots Riley, writers Boots Riley, what a weird dude. In cast, Lakeith Stanfield. When I first saw him, I was like, oh, that's Lakeith Stanfield, Yasuke, and the guy from Get Out. The dude who got that one line of Get Out came out of nowhere to me. But Lakeith Stanfield, who plays Cassius Green, I thought he did a great job. I think he does well expressing Cassius' emotions. So that Cassius is just a normal dude who literally just want to do better for himself and do better for his girlfriend or his fiance. And I thought he did a great job doing that. Now, when they break up because she wasn't riding with him anymore, he kept trying to like go to like her art show to see what she was doing, and she kind of like blew him off and hooked up with somebody else. Which, let's go ahead and talk about Detroit, who played by Tessa Thompson. I didn't know that was Tessa until like 20 minutes into the movie. I was like, that's Tessa Thompson. No way. But I thought she did a great job bringing the character of Detroit. She is somebody who was like, she's more a social warrior, a social justice warrior. Kid you not, like lack of a better term, like she's somebody who wants to do better for everybody else. She want to tear down like the system that puts everybody down, and she's going after her artwork. Everything about what she does is for her cause. And there's a guy named Steven, or actually, let me just talk about him right now too, named Squeeze, who played by Steven Wynn. He's like, what do you see in Cassius? Like, why do you want to be around him? And she's like, Cassius is real. He doesn't hide who he is. He does what he wants to do. And Cassius was with her because of her cause and things that she's into and her values and emotions behind things. That's why he was attracted to her, but she was attracted to him because he's just a real dude. Like, he's not gonna put on a front. Like, he's not gonna act like he's a social justice warrior. But like, if he sees wrong, in a sense, when it affects not just him but affects everybody else in him, he's gonna jump in and make that wrong or right. And that's what it does show Cassius, like, progression throughout this movie. You do see him go from somebody who's like, I'm doing this for me because I need to get on top, I need to support my family, I need to support my girlfriend, to him like, okay, now they're messing with everybody in the world. It's not just me anymore, it's everybody. So I'm about to tell the news that, hey, this guy's making horse people. And I thought Tess did a good job. Like, the relationship chemistry between her and Lakeith Stanfield, I thought they did a good job playing that relationship. You can see them look like somebody who really care for each other, and then you see them play off each other. Thought it was a great job between the two of them, and I like how the writer did a good job showing like, hey, yeah, they're fiancés, and they have different viewpoints, and if one person's not riding with those viewpoints, the other one's like, all right, I gotta do best for me because you gotta do your own thing. And she actually does go off and sleep with somebody else, but they're broken up, so it doesn't matter. And then they come back to each other at the end, even though the guy she slept with was like also there at the end too, which kind of made me feel awkward for him. But maybe they had a conversation off screen. I don't know. And then, of course, Squeeze, who played by Steven Wynn. I thought he did a good job. I thought Steven did a good job bringing Squeeze to life. Squeeze was another dude similar to Tesla's character, similar to Detroit, where they both are social justice warriors. They want to see everybody treated fairly, and they don't like a system where, like, if one person rides, they all should rise together for just for the minimum of living a good life. Like, just they want to live where they don't have to worry about paying the bills just to get by. They can just live comfortably, pay the bills, and maybe do more. So I do like his character, and for a moment you can see that like Tesla and Steven character are going to get together, and it does happen, but you thought they were like right off together. Most movies, generally the characters ride all together and that's it. You don't see the girlfriend of the main character come back and be like, yeah, no, I'm here with you. That was something I had to try out. Like, huh. You don't see that most often. Mostly you see like the boyfriend gets dumped by by the girlfriend at the end of the movie, and then he finds another girl at the end of the movie who appreciates him. You know, Tesla's character already appreciated him, so therefore there was no like none of that. It was just like, oh yeah, life happens, people. Jermaine Flower, who plays Salvador Sav, he was cool. Jermaine was cool. Omari Hardwick, who played Mr. Bleep, he was interesting. Let me see here. Danny Glover, who played Langston. It was just cool seeing Danny Glover in this movie. And Armie Hammer, who plays Steve Liff, thought he did a good job as well. Trying to think, anybody else in this movie that really want to point out? David Cross, who plays Cassius Whitevoice. That is literally what it says.
Here's the starting salary.
Well, man, I'm gonna have to get me some new suits.
So Cassius has to come up with what they call a white voice, a voice that sounds like you don't have a care in the world. You go out, you leave the job, go right into your Ferrari, and you just keep going. Nothing, rent doesn't matter, the bills don't matter, no child support, nothing. Like, and the most funniest things to see how this is explained in the movie, and then when it happens, you're like, okay. So this is a thing that we're just tossed into. Roll with it. Being jokes, maybe it's a comedy bit. Roll with it. And I like how the voice actor watches the movie and see how the expression of the character is and plays on that. So I thought David Cross did a good job being a good voice actor, which you see those for cartoons and anime, but to see it in a movie where you're literally dubbing over a person who can speak English, it is great. I love it. Love it. And then when it shifts from the white voice to his normal voice, I love the shift. I love like the tone, because there's two completely different tones. David Cross's voice for the character and Lakeith Stanfield's voice are two completely different tones. I love it. Love it. Any other thoughts? Anybody else I really want to point out? Not really. I don't think there's anybody else I really want to point out. I think that's great for what we got so far. Last thoughts. The music is cool. The music is fine in the movie. The directing and color I thought was nice. I liked the way the movie looked really nice. The storyline was solid. Just the pacing of it was a little off to me. But other than that, it was fine. Is this a Friday night movie? Nah, I don't think. Well, no. I said this is a Friday night movie. I said watch with your friends, not family, just so you can get that discussion that comes with some of the stuff this movie brings to the table. I think that's kind of neat. And one more note before I get to the final grade. I do like how the movie begins where Lakeith is in a spot where he's like, I'm in my uncle's garage, ain't his basement, my uncle's garage, living his life, and he moves up, lives like into a luxury apartment downtown of Los Angeles or San Francisco, wherever city you're in. Then they go back to the uncle basement at the end of the movie, or uncle garage at the end of the movie, but he brings what he learned from the symbolism of him bringing like the luxury apartment style to the garage was kind of neat, because it showed that like, yeah, he started at point A and kind of started back at point A, like went back in a full circle, but he also took what he learned on his journey back home with him, so he wasn't like completely the same person. He did change throughout the movie. I do like that. And then you have the horse thing at the end of the movie and you're like, what the heck? But yeah, that's one little note I wanted to add there. Grading time. I'm going to grade the movie Sorry to Bother You a B+. It's a B+ for me. It's not quite an A. The pacing, what really makes it not an A, and then there's a few parts where like the lows are low and the highs are high, but everything else about this movie is solid. The acting is solid. The storyline, I was okay with it. Maybe the abruptness of like jumping from comedy to sci-fi like that threw me off in a world that is like, what the heck? But then the movie kind of makes fun of itself in a sense where it's like, yeah, no, this is why this is happening. So I do appreciate that in a sense. And the movie is fine. It's fine. If you like sci-fi comedy, you will be okay with this movie. But if you're somebody who's like never seen any of this kind of stuff and walk into it, you're probably like, what the heck am I watching? Okay. But the directing is solid. The storyline, I think, is probably one of the best parts about this movie, and the conversation that comes out of it. it's really gonna be something to really like listen to and have a conversation about it because of the things they're talking about. But other than that, yeah, it was cool. It was a cool movie. I'm giving it a B+. If you've seen the movie Sorry to Bother You, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, see you in the next episode of Movie Breakdowns. Keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Also, you want to see what else I'm doing in my normal life and other things that's going on, please follow me on Instagram at Ali_Zakka. I'll put it right here around my face. Yep, right there. Also, if you want more episodes of Movie Breakdowns or Grind Towards Success or whatever it is I'm doing on YouTube, you know what? Follow my page right here, like I said before, the little comment thing right there, And then you can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right here, and watch the last episode of Grind Towards Success right there. Other than that, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. See y'all next time. Keep being awesome.